3, 2, 1.
What's up, people? Welcome back. How are you? I'm doing well, thank you. So a few things I want to talk about before we dive into this video. I'm thinking about doing a new maybe series where I hop on it's almost like a podcast maybe, but like a Zoom call with different directors, different gaffers, grips, maybe PAs, camera ACs. I really want to focus on how different departments interact with DPs on set. And I think that could be a really valuable...
Seeing how different departments react, how different departments interact with cinematographers of director's party. Check it out.
That freaked me out. Okay. I think it would be really awesome to be able to share a series like this, especially for cinematographers, really, and even directors in other departments on how they interact with DPs in all different fields like commercials, narrative, music videos, all different things. And I think that would be a great series. So let me know in the comments below if you think that would be valuable to you guys. Again, if you find this content to be of value to you, if you learn something, if you just, like to see my face every so often, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me to, be able to do this stuff for you guys. But without further ado, let's jump right into today's video. So this video revolves around something that I did a couple days ago, which is extremely exciting, and it was an amazing opportunity, and it was to be able to use the Bolt Jr. robot. This thing is just insane. If you guys have followed me on Instagram lately, you have seen some of my stories and some other people posting about this. Quick backstory before we dive into this a little bit more. A local rental house called Expressway in Philly hosted an event with the Bolt Jr., and it was pretty much just them showing off this new piece of technology, how it looks, how much it costs, and showing examples, and just kind of hosting a really nice event with a bunch of different filmmakers around the Philly area. But at the end of the event, the operator, Mike Greenberg, said that this is something very new to Philly and they're looking to build their reel out. And if anyone just has any really cool ideas, feel free to send them an email just to, try some stuff out. And I saw that as a really interesting opportunity because normally this thing costs like $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 just to rent out for a day. And 99% of the time, I don't really have that budget for just camera movement. And to be able to use this thing for free and have 100% creative control and collaboration and being able to, accomplish what we really, really want, I thought was just such a unique opportunity. So I reached out to my cousin John Stassel, who's a professional magician, and kind of pitched this idea to him to see if he'd be down, and of course he is. He loves being in front of camera, and content is king. And if you look at his page, you will see that. So after I got John on board, I pitched Mike and Expressway my idea and to see if they were interested in, doing something together. And they were. So the next couple days went by and we ended up just rolling up on set and getting this thing started. And Mike told me something that was really interesting to me, that he was expecting a lot more people to hit him up to be able to try this thing. And he said that I was the only person in that event that reached out to try. I feel like it's part of my job to continually learn and continually get knowledge and make connections with people that are at the next level and that are using equipment and technology that are at that next level. And the Bolt Jr. is a mechanical robot arm that can move a camera extremely fast and very precise due to keyframes that it sets prior to actually shooting. It was really insane being able to watch this thing move in exact, precise movements repeatedly every single time. And this was so cool. We also had the opportunity to use a Phantom camera. And if you're not familiar with Phantom cameras, they are like industry-leading high-speed shooting cameras. So we had the Phantom 4K and we shot this at 400 frames a second, which isn't even half of what it could do. It could shoot up to 1,000 frames per second, which is pretty gnarly, to be honest. That's just insane. We thought 400 was a perfect sweet spot because some of the movements weren't like insanely fast, but it was fast enough where 400 frames could slow it down and not be like
2,000 years later, 6.5 hours later, a few inches later, day 2, day 3, day 4, a few moments later, one eternity later.
So this was a first for me, really using the Phantom and the Bolt and communicating with the Bolt operator. So as a DP, this was a very stimulating experience for me because I got to learn so much about this camera, how to communicate my idea in movement with the operator, how the arm and the robot moves, and everything that goes along with that, the safety precautions, everything. This was just a huge stimulating and exciting experience that I got to do only because I saw an opportunity in front of me and I took advantage of it. Sometimes people don't see an opportunity in front of them that could change the course of their life or career, and that might be drastic, yes, but what I'm saying is if I didn't go to that event and go out of my comfort zone, because normally I'm like a hermit crab. I just kind of stay in my office area and just like not socialize, but I got out of my comfort zone. I went to this event. I got to meet people. I got to experience a really cool event, and that wouldn't have afforded me the opportunity to hear Mike say that they're looking for people to kind of just spit out ideas and try things. So when I heard him say that, that was the green light for me to say, okay, yes, the benefit of going to this event was meeting people, learning how this works, but the real benefit was hearing him say that and taking this opportunity and taking advantage of it. And I don't mean take advantage like I'm going to use this only for me. What I mean is being able to collaborate with extremely talented people on a piece of equipment that I normally do not have access to. And doing something on my own terms with a full creative collaborative experience was something that you don't ever really get. And my message to you guys is keep your eyes open for opportunity. No matter how big or how small it is, you never know what it could lead to, and you never know who you can meet in that process. So keep your eyes open and be open to any opportunity, regardless if it pays or if it doesn't. Next thing we're gonna be talking about is more of the cinematography aspect, and considering this is my first time kind of directing, DPing-ish this bolt, and with an operator, there was a lot of learning curves, and being able to understand what the capabilities of this arm could do and versus what it cannot do helped me get a better understanding of how to communicate with the operator. The first thing we're going to be talking about is the lighting here, and if you don't know how cameras work or how shutter speed or camera angle or things like that work, when you're shooting at 400 frames a second, if you compare that to shutter speed, that's 1/800th of a second, and that is extremely fast, which means that your image is going to inherently be a lot darker without lighting. If you were at 1/50th of a second at 24 frames a second, you're a lot brighter, it's a lot more wide open, and I'm not talking about aperture, but I'm talking about just general brightness. And when you're at 1/800th of a second, it's really dark. So that means you need to push in a lot of light. And even though from an outside perspective, the scene, the set might look way too bright, when you're looking in camera, it's perfect because of how dark it is in the beginning. So the first thing we did was set up a 6-foot T-bone with a 6x1/4 silk. The next thing we did was set up the 600D, 500D, and mix panel. What we did was shine all of those lights through the 1/4 silk, and that created a nice soft light, but with enough power. But one thing I noticed, because the 1/4 silk isn't as thick, there was still some harshness on his face. So what I ended up doing was taking a 1x2 poly silk, attached it to a C-stand, and directed it right in front of the 600 and 500, so those two lights were the only ones being double diffused. What that meant was the light that was hitting his face was being softened, but there was still enough output to light the entire scene. And that, with the mix panel, which was more frontal, allowed a little bit more fill in the key side of his face. So moving on after that, what we did was take a aperture 300D with a light dome and use that as a nice hair light and kind of rim light back here on the left side of his face that you'll notice. And the reason why we went with the light dome was because I wanted still to have a little bit soft light kind of hitting him. I didn't want there to be anything too harsh, and it kind of just spread out a light a little bit more, and it wasn't just too direct. And the last thing that we did was add a nanlite pavo tube directly overhead, and what that did was kind of just add a little bit more separation from his hair to the black wall behind him, and just to add a little bit of texture. Because he was wearing a black jacket, he has dark hair, and the wall was black, he could fall off into that darkness fairly easy. But by adding that backlight and hair light as well as the top light, that helped us with that separation that we were looking for to take the subject away from the background. So in terms of camera and camera movement, we shot with the Phantom 4K with the Angenieux zoom lenses. I'm not going to be talking too much about the technicalities of how we accomplished it, because I don't really know how it works. That's something that mic would be way better to talk about. My general thoughts about camera and camera movement here just revolve around getting comfortable with communicating your ideas verbally. And what I mean by that is you can think about the shot in your head all you want, but it's not until you open your mouth and speak that sometimes your thoughts and your words don't translate properly. So having this experience and being able to communicate with Mike about what I envisioned in my head was invaluable, because he would say to me, okay, I love what you're thinking here. We could definitely accomplish that, but the limitations of this bolt arm are X, Y, and Z. And that made me think in my head, okay, so the limitations are this, and we're looking to accomplish this. What is something that we could do alternatively that accomplishes the same movement in a similar style, but might not be exactly how we wanted it to begin with? So having that collaborative conversation really allowed us both to kind of experience this machine in a brand new way. And it was really exciting, and it was such an awesome opportunity. So that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's topic. I really enjoyed being able to experience this, and hopefully you guys seize the opportunities in front of you. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and no opportunity is too small for you to make something really large and create a big impact from something that you might have thought was seemingly meaningless. So have a great day. Thank you guys as always. I'll see you next time. Peace out.